I am Multi-Topic Talk. Welcome to this new review. Today we cover the sixth episode of Bleach, Thousand Year Blood Warfare. And I will be honest as usual. And be advised, I did read the manga on a weekly basis, so I am up to date and I know exactly how everything ends. With that being said, I will not cover any manga spoiler. I will only cover what happened so far with the first six episodes. And as usual, I need to mention my dislikes and my likes because this is a review, you know? Now, I will say this, seeing Zaraki defeated by Drawback was great. And just like the manga, he had his eye patch off. So he was full power and he wasn't able to defeat the big boss of the Quincy. Now, I will say this, and maybe, just maybe, in episode 7, they will address what I think they removed this episode. In the manga, we had a discussion during the fight between Drawback and Genryusai, or yeah, Ed Captain, if you prefer that way. Actually, we had more than one. We had a lot of pages where they speak. And one big takeaway, the Shinigami back in the day, they used to be merciless killers and they were monsters basically. And the Godly 13 was stronger because they were living to kill. And it's no more the case because peaceful time bring a different aspect to the Gold A13. And in the manga, if I recall correctly, Drawback said, Yamamoto, you died at the same time as me 1000 years ago because you're no more like that. The Gold A13 died with you. And maybe I missed something from that episode number 6, but I don't recall or remember seeing that same speech from Drawback. And it's sad. They did cut it for more action, I guess. I like the action, but right now I'm into my dislikes. So this is one of them. And I also think they cut off something else. In the manga, Drawback said, yeah, if you had 2 arms, you would have been stronger. Maybe a threat to me. But because you're too stubborn to ask for Inoue, the human that heals, to fix your lost arm, well, you're a joke now. You're much weaker. You're no more considered as a big weapon of war, special force of war, one of the 5 big ones. And like so far we only had Int at 2, Aizen because how he is, and Ichigo because he is strong, you know? I also think they said Zaraki was a 3rd one, but I'm not quite sure about that one. Regardless, I will say this, cutting that stubborn part of the dialogue was sad. If they did cut it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I missed it again. So I do think they did cut a lot of very important things to the source of material. And usually I don't point out things like that because usually I just don't see it. But here I was able to point out what they took away. And it's a bit sad because I think it was important to mention what was removed. Now, Another big issue, the pacing. That fight was too short, it went too fast for me. Remember maybe 2 weeks ago when I was reviewing episode number 4, I was like, there's a big fight incoming soon. I was talking about this one, the one we got in one episode. I thought they would be clever and they would do interesting stuff with it and extend that fight to cover 3 episodes. But we ended up with only one. So pacing is really bad. I feel like I could have gotten more of all of the action we got right now. It's like they are doing a race. They really want to go really fast. And that bothers me a lot. Because last week was amazing, and then this week we get almost an entire volume of the manga in one episode. It's a lot, and I'm not a big fan of that. This fight between Jirabash and Genryusai is essential, it's important, and they really wanted to finish with it as fast as they could, and I'm not a fan of that. I really didn't like the pacing. No, no, no. Now, my dislikes are out of the way. Let's cover what I enjoyed because this episode was amazing despite me trashing on it, as some people may say. The fight choreography, the exposition were both great. You can see and feel the heat of Genryusai Bankai. You can see and feel Genryusai anger. That fight was good. I enjoyed it a lot, even if the pacing was rushed. It was still very good. And they did extend it a bit more, the action at some extent. They did remove a lot of like what the manga was giving us, but I feel like that fight was more dynamic before it went all crazy with Genryusai Bankai. It was great to see that Bankai in the anime. I liked it a lot. And we see the other captain's reaction to that Bankai. And they tell us, yeah, he could destroy this whole society with that Bankai. So this is to tell you how strong Yamamoto is, and it's great. We also had more anime-only content in this episode. Ishida Uryu, learning about the past and the war, and I feel like a lot of things they showed us and told us we kinda knew if we did read the manga, but I guess that's the first one for the anime, and in the manga, like, they don't really address it directly. You need to go head canon on like how everything went down, and with these anime only scenes with Ishida, we get to learn in depth, and we no more need to use head canon to understand all of the events and how everything went with the Quincy's and the Shinigami and why they were executed 200 years ago. Yeah, that was very interesting. And now we see Ishida thinking about his past with Ichigo, and he's like, I'm a Quincy, and he is a Shinigami, and Quincy and Shinigami cannot, like, they can't be in harmony like Ishida Master wanted that dynamic to be. Ishida was a strong believer that Shinigami and Quincy could work together, and Ishida comes to the conclusion they can't. And it's very interesting to see that yeah, that episode was really good. It was very entertaining. The fight between Drawback and Yamamoto was too short for me. I will repeat that. Now I will say that Aizen was great. He only had like one or two scenes with Drawback and they were speaking and Drawback was like, I want to recruit you, and Aizen was like, yeah, no, thanks, I pass. I'd rather stay here, and that was very interesting. And yeah, seeing like building getting destroyed by Yamamoto Bankai, the music, man, that episode was fire. Yeah, puns intended. The title is fire, and that episode was fire. You know, um, now I don't see myself adding more because most of what happened in the episode is the fight between Yamamoto and Jobash. So I don't see myself adding more. At the end of the fight, Jobash basically reveals himself because Yamamoto basically fought someone that can duplicate Jobash power and stuff, but he was weak here. And at the end, uh, Yamamoto killed the Sun Reater that basically cloned himself to be Jobash. Uh, Basically, the Jobash clone died, and the true Jobash basically killed Yamamoto. So Ed Captain died in this episode. He died. The leader of the Gotei 13. Things are getting serious there. And rain is coming. So, I think I'm done with this review. The head captain gone. The true drawback is still alive, and only a clone of him died. Ishida thinking about his Quincy past and lineage, if we can call it that way. I think overall that episode should deserve A, like Alpha. Um, I do think it was a good episode, but I had a few issues, as I said. I remember last week's episode being better and other episode this season as well. Now, what do I look forward? Well, I really hope they will not rush what will happen next. Please, you rushed enough things? For real? Um, I maintain what I said in previous reviews. I really hope this season will end just before some very important flashbacks. And manga reader do know what I am talking about. An anime viewer, I will not spoil it for you. No, no, no. So I I really hope the next bunch of episodes, like we got 8 episodes, I think, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We got 7 episodes remaining. And I really hope they take their time. So, yeah, do not rush what happens next. I'm thinking about another big fight before the said flashbacks. And I really hope that big fight, they will spend enough time on it. I do not want that other big fight to only last one episode. Man, it was the head captain versus Jiwabak. I mean, you need to spend time on that. They are rivals, in quotes. Jiwabak is shown to be much stronger, because Genryusai did struggle to fight a weaker clone, a weaker copy of Joabat. So it's almost insulting to have only one episode dedicated to their fight. And this fight, with Genryusai dying, also means the end of an era, the end of the first Gotei 13 we have seen since the Bleach anime and manga started. Because now the leader, the head captain, is gone. So we will see a new era in the Soul Society if the Soul Society survive. And this was very important. And this is why I took away points for rushing through things and having a fight that could have lasted for 3 episodes, only 1 episode. With that being said, I hope guys and girls enjoyed this video. We will see each other next week with episode number 7. And you know the YouTube stuff, right? Like, this helps the channel. Comment and subscribe if you are not one of my precious subscribers. And have a good day.